would it be feasible for somebody like myself to drive around the world? And the answer slowly became yes.
Say 100 people have contacted me with the dream of driving around the world. Of those 100 people, one has gotten to the start line.
People with disabilities can achieve great things.
Mike needs a vehicle like that because it's who he is. He needs power, he needs strength, he needs speed.
Yesterday was bar none the toughest driving I've ever done in my life.
He'd collapse almost. Like, he'd be utterly exhausted.
I'm physically beat, I'm emotionally wiped out. Whoever said driving around the world was easy.
I'd like to welcome back our viewers, past and present, to the Round the World Challenge 20th Anniversary Virtual Tour. Exactly 20 years ago, I set out to be the first quadriplegic to circumnavigate the world, driving my highly modified Chevrolet Blazer truck. It also set the platform from which to raise international funds and awareness for spinal cord injury research and rehabilitation. Now 20 years later, we will be replicating the same route, but on this occasion, we're going to be going to the destinations virtually. Through all of the 21 countries that I drove, we're going to be meeting up with leaders, celebrities, politicians, and influencers to find out where we were 2 decades ago in comparison to where we are now, and in fact, where we need to be in the future, but all through a disability lens. We will also be releasing some vintage video footage along with some photos from the original challenge. With more than 1.3 billion people around the world with disabilities who are disproportionately affected, the situation right now is even more dire due to the COVID pandemic. After a fast drive on the Autobahns through Germany and Austria, we then started scaling the Italian Alps en route to our next major destination in Rome, Italy. Then the team grew from 3 members to 11 members driving 3 vehicles. But wouldn't you know it, adversity would rear its ugly head once again with major vehicle repairs, and then we received the bad news that our technical advisor was dropping out. Undeterred, the team and I re-strategized. We made our way on a night crossing over the Adriatic Sea and then up over the treacherous Kavala Pass on our way to eastern Greece. I had quite the scare as all of a sudden I had a severe allergic attack. It would remind me of the vulnerability that I had as a high-level quadriplegic and reinforce to all of us many of the challenges that lay ahead. Settling in for a few days into the metropolis of Istanbul, Turkey, would represent an opportunity to address the media.
And then I started playing around with the question, would it be feasible for somebody like myself to drive around the world? And the answer slowly became yes.
Plan our excursion into the Middle East and to say goodbye to the other team members who would be returning home to Europe and Canada. Our next stop in Turkey would be at the capital city of Ankara, where we would visit the National Rehabilitation Center. We were met by a large crowd of media, hospital staff, and patients. I thereby gave an impromptu speech addressing the group before having a visit throughout the institution.
Are you doing fundamental research right now?
Not so much.
More of
there are some support problems.
I met up with a young man who had recently broken his neck at the 4th and the 5th cervical, the exact same level as my own paralysis.
He's really sending out a message of hope and inspiration, which is extremely powerful, and we see that on this trip when he visits one of the rehabilitation centers in the various countries. You can see the inspiration, the light that comes into the eyes of the young children who are in wheelchairs when they see what is possible if you have the will.
We traversed some of the most challenging terrain in the form of steep mountains and valleys before arriving at what seemed like a Martian landscape. It seemed like the further we went east, we kept experiencing more Western to Eastern architecture with constantly sighting Muslim prayer towers and bells.
Which is connected to the steering wheel. Here we go again. I know all the back alleys and kitchens of the great hotels around the world. And some of them.
Staying overnight in a number of smaller and remote towns, we were constantly worried about the safety of the truck, even though we had a security system. Additionally, we were always challenged with locating safe and accessible accommodations. A few hundred kilometers from the Turkish-Iranian border, we pulled off into the small town called Taliskay. Immediately, we were swarmed by the townsfolk and treated like celebrities.
As you can see, it's going to be a very discreet lunch with just a few of our friends.
Shortly thereafter, one of the restaurant owners asked us to come over for lunch.
When he heard about this guy, he said, I want to contribute, I want to donate 2 million Turkish liras.
Approximately $20 American. Our next stop was Dugu Bayazit, right near the Iranian border. Although I was adamant that as a team we could push to make it to the Iranian border, the team thought it might be better to rest overnight and take a fresh approach at the border the very next day.
What's your view?
My view is that I would feel that he should stay here for the night.
Utilizing my best leadership skills, I thought it was only democratic to listen to the group.
I'd say probably wait till morning, just because just getting everything packed nicely and everything like that, sort of being fresh for the border.
Okay, democracy wins. I'm the odd one out, so I'll stay here.
He's a very good leader. It's very clear that he's in charge of this project. When we were coming into this small town last night, we were debating whether to continue on to the border of Iran and see if we could get through last night. Most of us didn't want to do that. We wanted to stop at the hotel, but Mike wanted to drive on. But he had a little conference and he said, well, democracy wins, in spite of the fact that you knew that within him he wanted to go through that border.
We couldn't get out of Turkey for about 12 hours. We were trying to get out of Turkey. And I think we found out that it was because there was a certain stamp that we didn't get when we came into Turkey. And then I think it was either George or someone and said, get your guitar. And so I just remember getting my guitar and singing to the border guards. And and I think they either hated my song so much that they just said, all right, come on through. And they gave us the stamp we needed. But for some reason, I had to do a bit of singing to help us get us through.
I said my final goodbyes to David Hamilton and Peter Stewart, as they would shortly be returning to Europe, and we would be meeting with their counterparts in Iran. Often referred to as the gateway to the East, Turkey did not fail to deliver. In terms of all the nostalgic and historic buildings and monuments in Istanbul, to the precarious and scenic Bosphorus Strait, right through to the challenging and enduring never-ending landscapes, this country was truly incredible. If you've enjoyed the first 6 episodes, our adventure through the mystical and often misunderstood country of Iran is going to be quite illuminating, but for the right reasons.
It's a long-term care establishment, specifically for women with all disabilities. And in this hotel, there was no elevator. So I had to be piggybacked up 3 flights of stairs. Very slow, like right now.
It was hot to the point where, words fail me. You cannot describe that kind of heat.
Please remember that people with spinal cord injuries are suffering more than ever during this global pandemic. And this is the time when our 3 vital charities need your support. Please show you care and donate generously. Thank you for watching, stay safe, and see you further down the road.